37. Sunset. The cabin, by the stern windows. Ahab sitting alone and gazing out. I leave a white and turbid wake, pale waters, paler cheeks where'er I sail. The envious billows sidelong swell to whelm my track. Let them, but first I pass. Yonder, by ever-brimming goblets rim, the warm waves blush like wine. The gold prow plumbs the blue. The diver's sun, slow dived from noon, goes down. My soul mounts up, she wearies with her endless hill. Is then the crown too heavy that I wear? Is this iron crown of Lombardy? Yet it is bright with many a gem. I, the wearer, see not its far flashings, but darkly feel that I wear that dazzling confounds. 'Tis iron, I know, not gold. 'Tis split, too, that I feel. The jagged edge galls me so, my brain seems to beat against the solid metal. A steel skull mine, the sort that needs no helmet in the most brain-battering fight. Dry heat upon my brow, oh, time was when as the sunrise nobly spurred me, so the sunset soothed. No more, this lovely light, it lights not me. All loveliness is anguish to me, since I can ne'er enjoy. Gifted with the high perception, I lack the low. Enjoying power, damned most subtly and most malignantly. Damned in the midst of paradise. Good night, good night. Waving his hands, he moves from the window. 'Twas not so hard a task, I thought, to find one stubborn at the least. But my one-cogged circle fits into all their various wheels, and they revolve. Or, if you will, like so many anthills of powder, they all stand before me, and I their match. Oh, hard, that to fire others, the match itself must needs wasting. What I've dared I've willed, and what I've willed I'll do. Then they think me mad, Starbuck does, but I'm demonic, I am madness maddened. That wild madness that only calm comprehends itself. The prophecy was that I should be dismembered, and I lost this leg. I now prophesy that I will dismember my dismemberer. Now then, be that prophet and the fulfiller one. That is more than ye great gods ever were. I laugh and hoot at ye cricket players, ye pugilists, ye deaf Burkes and blinded Bendigos. I will say as schoolboys do to bullies, take someone of your own size, do not pommel me. No, ye've knocked me down and I'm up again. But ye've run and hidden. Come forth from behind your cotton bags. I have no long gun to reach ye. Come, Ahab's compliments to me. Come and see if ye can swerve me. Swerve me, you cannot swerve me, else ye swerve yourself. Man has ye there. Swerve me, the path to my fixed purpose is laid with iron rails, whereon my soul is grooved to run. Over unsounded gorges, through the rifled hearts of mountains, under torrents' beds, unerringly I rush. Not's an obstacle, not's an angle to the iron way. This is the end of chapter 37. This is all from the perspective of Ahab. And the past couple of chapters have done something slightly different than a lot of the others. It has some stage directions in there. So it starts out with the scene, and where it says the cabin by the stern windows, Ahab sitting alone and gazing out. That's very much like what you would see in the script of a play, where it says the setting. So it's like setting the cabin by the stern windows. So this is in Ahab's cabin, sitting at the rear windows, and Ahab sitting alone gazing out. And, I mean, you don't normally see this in books. And you only see this in some of these chapters. And there's also the stage direction of waving his hand, he moves from the window. So, as I start out by saying, Moby Dick is a book of varied parts. And it's sort of a mishmash. And it was very experimental It was a very experimental style for the time, and other authors later played on this. William Burroughs did a bunch of stuff like this, and where they just sort of mashed up styles and mixed things together and did things sort of randomly to jar the reader. This is the earliest instance I've seen of things like this, where it's like, okay, we're going to go one style and mix in another style. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a more modern example, where you would have these excerpts of Hitchhiker's, of the Hitchhiker's Guide, where you'd have chapter, and then all of a sudden you'd have this insert from the Hitchhiker's Guide where the guide says all of this information about whatever. Which here Moby Dick, Herman Melville did that decades, almost over a century earlier. So, this is kind of an experimental thing. But the point of this chapter is Ahab is sitting here, and he's like, this crown he wears, and it's an iron crown. Now, there's all sorts of different metals, of course, and different things that people make crowns of, and crowns have been made of. So typically you'd have a king with the golden crown. You might have a prince or some lower noble with a silver crown. But iron is the crown of a warrior. So, if you would have a king going out into battle, he would oftentimes have a metal crown welded to his helmet. So the iron crown welded to the helmet, so to signify that he's the king, so that all of his men follow him and protect him. Well, of course, it signifies to the enemy that, hey, this is the target. But at the same time, it gives him authority, and it gives him command, and if he's out on the battlefield, he's probably one of the better fighters. But so he has this iron crown, or he has this sense of the iron crown, which is heavy, and it's a burden on him. And he talks about the jewels on the crown. And the jewels on the crown would often signify, this is a jewel for this territory, and that territory, and the other territory. So the more jewels you had, each one symbolized a different person who reported to you. So here you have Ahab visualizing his crown, the iron crown of a warrior, with numerous servants. And the crown is split, signifying that the kingdom is broken. And it goes on talking about his leg, that he himself is broken. And all the time there was always this symbolism of the king and the kingdom. So if the kingdom is ill, the king is ill, and the king is ill, the kingdom is ill. So the crown is split. Ahab is split. The crew is split by Starbuck saying, and Ahab acknowledges this. And he says the prophecy said that he was going to be dismembered. Now the question is whose prophecy? Are we going to find out more about that? Doesn't strike me as something that Elijah back on shore would have said. Because he might have. I don't think he did. Wonder where we're going to find out about the prophet who did it. But so we have a bunch of interesting things going on here.